Hey everyone, it's Laurel. Today I want to share my Flaunted Fridays project for this week with you. And I'm also going to show you in this video how I did it. So, hold on. I'm going to move this. So this is my project for this week. It's a t-shirt. I guess it's kind of hard to see. The cut for this week was the skull from Mini Monsters. I don't have Mini Monsters, so I used this skull from Life is a Beach. And the flourishes are, I believe, from Serenade, but I'm not positive. But anyway, I made this t-shirt. And so I'm going to show you how I did that now. And I'm going to move you back here. So what it is I used my Cricut to cut a stencil out of this. So I didn't invent this technique. I guess Reynolds Freezer Paper did. Because it says right here on the box, great for crafting. You can make non-slip stencils and you just adhere it to your material with your iron. So that's what I did, and it works. You can do it on fabric and use fabric paint. You can do it on chipboard or paper and use regular acrylic paint. It works great either way. The only thing is you have to adjust your iron temperature so that it's hot enough to melt the plastic, but not so hot that it burns the paper. So when you buy this roll, all it is it's like this white paper. And then one side of the paper, see, it's like shiny on one side. So there's one side that has a plastic coating. So that's the side that will melt to whatever material you're using your stencil on. And when I do stencils like this, I use my gypsy, and the reason for that is when you cut the freezer paper on your Cricut, I haven't found it to work well if you do it with the shiny side down. So I always cut shiny side up, but when you go to iron it onto your t-shirt, you need to flip it shiny side down because that's the plastic side that's going to stick to the fabric. So when you cut out your image needs to be flipped because you're going to flip the paper over later, if that makes sense. So what I mean is, so I have my name here on my gypsy map, but you can see that it's backwards. So I spelled my name out and then I push this button here to flip it vertically. So it's like how it would look if you were looking at it in a mirror. So I'm going to cut that, and then I'm also going to cut this Hello Kitty head, and I've also flipped that. Normally Hello Kitty's bow is on her right ear, so I flipped it so now it's on the left side. So the other thing you need to keep in mind when you cut your stencils out is to kind of keep it in the center of your paper when you cut it out, because you want to have a border of paper around the image that you cut, so that you can iron it to your t-shirt and then you don't run the risk of painting over the edge of your paper. So once you cut your image out, be careful when you peel the paper off the mat because you're going to use the negative space from your cut. So you're not going to use the actual items that cut out. You're going to use just the outside part. So like this. So I cut my name out, right? And you can see that this is the shiny side. So when I went to cut my image, it cut this way with the shiny side up. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip it over, and this is how I'm going to iron it to my shirt. So I need this, and then in the letters, like in this letter E, there's this little spot here that cut out. You need to save these little pieces because you're gonna stick that down when you go to iron this piece onto your shirt. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna iron my stencil to my t-shirt, and I'll be back. Hey everyone, I'm back. So I've ironed on my stencil, and I used probably like a medium temperature on it. This is not the iron that I use to iron clothes. I used like a spare iron because I have gotten fabric paint on the iron and it is tough to get off. And you can see like on this t-shirt, I don't know if you can see, the flourish overlaps the skull here. So to do layers like that, like for this one, I did the skull first. I let it dry completely, and then I peeled that stencil away. Then I went back and ironed on my next stencil. So if you do it like that, you can do as many layers as you want. I let mine dry like overnight. So I let this paint dry overnight. Then I came back and ironed my next stencil on, because if the paint is not completely dry, you're gonna have a huge mess on your hands with the iron. So I'm just warning you that the fabric paint can cause a mess on your iron. So if you have a spare iron, I would highly recommend you use it for a project like this. If not, just be very careful with your fabric paint. So anyway, you can see that I ironed my stencil on here, and I'm going to use two colors here. I'm going to use black for Hello Kitty's face, and then probably pink here, but because they're not overlapping, I can do the two colors at the same time, so I don't have to do one stencil, remove it, and then put the next one on like I did for the skull. So for this one, it's just going to be the silhouette of Hello Kitty's face that I'm going to paint on, and then my name here. So I'm going to put my paint on, and I'll be back. So this is the shirt with the paint on. I put 2 coats of fabric paint on it, and this is just the fabric paint that I think I got it at Joann's. Follow the instructions on the bottle for the paint that you have. I have purchased fabric paint from like a local art store before, and that one says that you need to heat set it. This one I don't believe needs to be heat set. But the instructions should be on the bottle. So in any case, this is what it looks like with the paint on. So you can see that all the areas that weren't covered with the paper, I just applied the fabric paint to. And this is why I said that you should leave some of the paper around your cutout, is unless you're super neat, you're gonna get paint, around the cut areas, and that's why you want to have a little bit of extra paper so you don't get it, onto your shirt. So this will dry for an hour or two. It dries pretty quickly to the touch, at which point you can peel the paper off. So be careful when you peel off the paper. I'll start showing you what it looks like when you peel the paper off, but just do it carefully. So you can kind of see how my Hello Kitty is coming out. I'm going to peel the rest of the paper off, and I'll be right back. So this is what my finished t-shirt looks like. I've peeled off all of the freezer paper, and now I'll just let this dry for probably another 24 hours or so before I wash it or anything, just to make sure it's completely dried. The other thing, I leave this piece of cardboard inside of the shirt the entire time I'm working on it. The reason for this is, one, it makes it easier to paint on my shirt because there's a sturdier back on it. And the paint could bleed from the front of your shirt to the back, so I leave the cardboard in just to make sure that that doesn't happen. But I'm thinking that I'm gonna go and put some pink bling on her bow now. But in any case, this is my finished freezer paper t-shirt. So be sure to stop by and check out the Flaunted Fridays blog. And thanks for watching my video. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.